Hello lovelies, and welcome to my first art journal video of 2019. So I thought it would be rather fitting, because I finally got my new journal, and I explained in my last video that I planned on using a brand new journal for 2019. And I thought it would be rather fitting to have my first art journal video be my art journal cover. Now, I've never actually decorated my covers. I have intended to, but I've never gotten around to it, because when I use a lot of ink, and when I use those inks, I don't actually cover my pages or my books, so I get ink everywhere, including all over my covers. So I've never really bothered to decorate them in any way. But when I decided to use a new journal for 2019, I thought it would be a good idea to actually put the year on it. And then for last year's journal, I'd also like to add the year to that as well. So I thought if I'm going to add the year to it, I may as well decorate them. And so that's what I did this morning. So I'm using a large Dylusions journal because I love the paper in these. Last year, my 2018 journal was actually a different journal. It looked the same, but it had a different paper makeup, and I do not like it. So I went with my Dylusions journal, my good old Dylusions, my favorite, and they have a craft chipboard MDF something kind of cover. So I decided to put some gesso on it just so my colors would pop more. Now I could have put my colors straight on top, but it won't take as well. So I put some gesso down, but I put a very thin coat so it would dry quickly. I used a card, and that gives me a very light coating. As you can see, you can still kind of see through it, but it just gives it enough of a primer so I can get some really nice bright colors. Then I did use a paintbrush just to fill in a few of the edges and things. So now I'm starting with my color. Now I'm going with Calypso Teal in the Dylusions range and Cherry Pie. They are my favorite colors to have together. Funny thing is though, I do love the color combination, but when I put it on the page, I can't blend it properly. It just looks like big blocks of color, and sometimes that really bothers me. And it's only when I use these two colors, but you know. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just using a paintbrush to apply these colors and just putting my colors all over, and that's just my background. So then I thought I'd add some splatters. We know how much I love Dylusions paint because it's really thin. It does tend to thicken up over time, but I still can use it with a paintbrush without watering it down, because if I water it down it goes translucent. So I'd like to, flap it around all over my page while it is still pretty not watered down and pretty, thickish. I know what I mean, you know what I mean, just basically throwing it at the page. I'm sorry for all the background noise. It is the school holidays. We have 6 weeks of Christmas holidays. So the only time I can get anything done, there is always going to be children in the background. So I do apologize, but it is life. So hopefully you can bear with me. I think they're actually having a Nerf war at the moment. So as you can see, I've decided to put some stenciling down with the new stencil I got, but I'm using a paintbrush, which doesn't give the best definition with my stencil, but you may have seen a second ago I did try and use a sponge, but it applies such a thin coat that it was very translucent, and you could see the colour underneath. Now, normally that's not an issue, but when you mix these two colours, you get a kind of purple, and I didn't want that. I really wanted that cherry pie colour, so to do that, I had to use a paintbrush. But then it gave me an excuse to do some more splatters. Though, honestly, do I ever really need an excuse? So I hope the voiceover isn't too jumpy. I'm having some serious dramas with my editing program. I don't know what's going on, but it seems to be working now, so fingers crossed. So now I'm going through some of my other stencils. I know I wanted to add some black stenciling here and there, and I was actually looking for like a, I know I have it. I do have it. I was looking for my crosshatch stencil, but it wasn't in my pile of stencils, so I thought I didn't have it, but I just remembered I have used it in another video, so I definitely do have it. I'll have to track that down. It's one of my favorites. But it is another Tim Holtz. I'm trying to keep my branded stencils together so I know that when I'm looking for something, I know roughly where it is. But yeah, we know my organisation is not the best. But yeah, so I settled on the of this one, the diamond pattern. So I'm just putting the black to start with. I'm putting it over the top of the cherry pie, and I was going to just leave it there, but then I thought if I'll keep moving it in blocks, so I merge it onto the turquoise or the teal, but using, how to explain it? Basically, I'm going to continue the block that started on the cherry pie into the blue. So I have serious issues with just random stenciling just floating in space. It bothers me. So I try and keep my stenciling so it sort of merges together, if that makes sense. So it sort of trails together and it just isn't just floating there. Floating off the edge I really like, but just floating in the middle of the page, just it bothers me. But that's just a me thing. So then I thought I'd add some circles in with my black paint or my black gesso, and literally I find whatever is on my desk. So I grabbed a lid off a container, and then I wanted smaller ones, and I didn't have anything, so I went and found a toilet roll that the dog hadn't chewed yet. My dog loves to eat toilet rolls, so we have a little collection of them. So yeah, I managed to salvage one, and yeah, put a few circles on there. I'm building up texture and pattern. That's all I want to do. So I just want to build up pattern all over this page. So this is where I decide to add the year down the bottom, and I don't want to use ink because it's not bold enough for me on a project like this. So I use paint, but as you can see, it's not working very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm then going to go back in with a paintbrush. So basically I'm just stamping 2019 and using it as a template. So it's not working too great. I didn't want to stamp it on white paper and then glue it on. I really just wanted to stamp straight onto the page. So I am, yeah, it's not looking great, but I'm continuing on with it because I can use it to trace around with a paintbrush in a minute. So while I've got some leftover paint, I've got my chevron roller stamp here and just adding a few bits and pieces here and there. Like I said, just building up that background. So this is where I'm going to come back in with that paintbrush, and you'll notice right away that just by doing this, it really makes that 2019 pop off that background so much more. So yeah, I just I fill in the outline with the black gesso, and yeah, it really pops. But then because I do have a lot of black in the background already, I decided to get a white gel pen. We know how much I love my white Gelly Roll pen, and then outline the 2019 as well. So that's going to really make it pop straight off this background. So I think that's actually pretty much it. I don't add white splatters or anything. I just, yeah, do my outline. I do a little, just a few little shadowy lines. You'll see in a minute. I think I'm adding black splatters at the moment, yeah. I love splatters, I really do. And I figure for an art journal cover, it's got to be messy, doesn't it? So yeah. But yeah, this is where I'm coming in with my Gelly Roll pen, and then that's pretty much it for the page. Well, it's not even a page, it's my journal cover. So that's it for my journal cover. So I do hope you've enjoyed the video. It is a little different because I've never done one of my covers before. It will be interesting to see how it holds up and survives. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you have ever decorated or painted your art journal cover. I'd be interested to know how they hold up. I'm a very messy artist, so I'll be very interested to see how this works. So these are my after shots. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching, and I will be back real soon with a new one. Bye for now.